welcome back. 5.7. Working with little quadratic inequalities today. Hope you guys enjoyed doing notes in class the other day. Changed things up a little bit. But here we are back to another video. So tonight we're going to talk about quadratic inequalities. So when you're solving a quadratic inequality, what we're going to do is we're going to solve it just like an equality or an equation. So what you're going to do is you're going to kind of ignore the fact that there's a inequality symbol there, and you're going to go ahead and solve it just like an equation. So solve it like an equation, put your solutions on a number line, and then you're going to pick test points in each interval. And then you're going to find out you're going to shade, when we say fill in, I mean shade, in the interval where you have solutions that check. Okay, and then when we get all done, we're going to write our answers in interval notation, because we all know how Mrs. Kraft loves interval notation. Alright, taking a look at the first one. So remember, first thing is we're going to solve it just like an equation. So we have 4x squared minus 9 equals 0. Okay, that happens to be a difference of perfect squares, so I'm going to go ahead and factor that. Okay, so that's going to factor 2x plus 3 and 2x minus 3. Alright, and these are my two factors, so I'm going to set them both equal to 0 to solve. And come up with my two solutions here. So I have values of negative 3/2. And, oh, yep, anyone catch my mistake there? There should be a minus. Okay, much better. Alright, so this is going to be positive 3/2. So I'm going to put those on a number line. Here's negative 3/2, and here is positive 3/2. Now, here's where you got to go back and take a look and say, alright, this is an inequality, so something's got to help me out here. Now, this symbol here, greater than, that means that you're going to have open circles on your number line. Okay, so these are both going to be open circles. Now we have to decide where to shade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick test points, and then I'm going to use my calculator to test them. So in between negative 3/2 and positive 3/2, what would be a nice value to test on my number line? Yep, you got it. I'm going to test 0 in here. Alright, so in your calculator, you're going to store 0 as your x value. So I'm going to make x equal to 0. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Okay, let's try this again. We're going to make x equal to 0. Alright, so we're having technical difficulties here. We're going to do it by hand. Never mind, I got it to work, so I'm back on my calculator again. Alright, I stored x into my calculator. Now the inequality that I'm going to check out is 4x squared. So we got 4x squared minus 9. And then if you want to get your inequality symbols, you're going to do your control equals, and then your inequality symbols will pop up there. So I need greater than, and I said greater than 0. Okay, now it told me that was false. That means 0 is not a solution to our inequality. So I don't want to shade in between my two solutions here because that turned out to be false. So now what you would continue to do is you would pick a test point on either side. So anything greater than 3/2, let's say 5. Anything less than negative 3/2, so let's say negative 5. You would run through your calculator the same process. Store 5 as your x value. Figure out whether it comes out true or false. I'm going to save us a little bit of time here, and I'm going to tell you it comes out true on either side here. So we're going to shade to the left and to the right. Now we're going to write it in interval notation. This interval is coming from negative infinity, and I'm going to stop at negative 3/2. We don't want to include negative 3/2, so that's going to have a parentheses. And we're going to pick up our other interval here at positive 3/2, and we're going to continue on to infinity. What do I need in between those two? Good, a nice union symbol there. So that is our solution. So anything less than negative 3/2 or greater than positive 3/2 would be a solution to this inequality. Alright, first thing we're going to do, treat this like an equation, and we're going to solve. So first thing I'm going to do is subtract x squared. So I'm going to get x squared plus 4x equals negative x minus 6. I'm going to add x to both sides. Yeah, I know. There we go. So now we've got x squared plus 5x equals negative 6. Bring that 6 over here. So we now have x squared plus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. Okay, this happens to factor. Anybody know what the factors are that multiply to 6 but add up to 5? Nice, 3 and 2. So that would make our solutions then negative 3 and negative 2. So I'm going to throw them on a little number line up here. So we have negative 3 and negative 2. Now, it said less than, so that means that, again, my circles are going to be open. And I'm going to, again, test a value that is in between my two values. So I'm going to test negative 2.5. Not much room to test in between there. Okay, but if you go ahead in your calculator here and you store your x value, so let's change our stored value here to negative 2.5. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I want to store x. This is a lot easier if you are using your calculators. Nope, pick up. Because your calculators aren't as touchy as my computer one is. Okay, there we go. Alright, so x is now negative 2.5. So I'm going to type in the original inequality that I had. So 2x squared. Okay. You guys probably had it done a lot faster than I did, but there we go. We have it all typed in now. I'm going to hit enter, and it is true. So we go back, and we say, alright, anywhere that is in between negative 3 and negative 2 are solutions. Now, I'm going to save you the trouble. I'm going to tell you if you test anything that's less than negative 3 or greater than negative 2, it's not going to work. So, our interval notation is going to look like negative 3, 2 with parentheses around it. Oh, yep, don't put that negative 2. Okay, so the only thing that's going to work is anything in between negative 3 and negative 2. Alright, we've done a lot of quadratics this unit. So I'm going to say that I'm pretty confident that you guys can go ahead and solve this next one. I will tell you that it does factor. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and solve number 3. And when you have your solutions, you can go ahead and join me. Okay, so you should have come up with your solutions of 1/3 and negative 2/3 if you factored everything correctly in there. Okay, and if this symbol says greater than or equal to, that means that my circles here are going to be filled in because we want to include these two values in our solutions. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and test a value in between our numbers. So in between here, nice test point, oh yes, are 0. So anywhere, any interval you have that you can test 0 in, it's always a good idea to do. Now, if you happen to put 0 in here, you will find out that it is going to come out to be false. So when we shade, we're going to want to make sure that we shade to the outside of our solutions here. So go ahead and put that in interval notation, and after you put it in interval notation, go ahead and check back with me. Okay, how'd you do? Did you remember to put brackets on negative 2/3 and 1/3 since you had your circles that were closed in? And did you remember to put your union sign in between your two solution sets? Okay, alright, nice job on that one. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. Okay, so first step is go ahead and set it equal to 0. So I'm going to go ahead and bring over my 5x and 5. So I'm going to do this all at once here. So we have 2x squared, and we're going to have a negative 11x plus 5 is equal to 0. So I will give you a little hint. This does factor. Okay, so if we need a 2x squared when we factor, we need what at the beginning of our parentheses? Nice. See, you guys are catching on to this. Now, if I have a negative in the middle and a positive product on the outside, I know that both of my terms have to be negatives here. And let's go with 1 here and 5 here. And let's just double check and make sure that that works. So that's a negative x. That's negative 10x. That comes out to be negative 11x. All right, that works good. So we have solutions of 1/2 and we have solution of 5. Put those on your number line. We got 1/2, we got 5. We have less than or equal to, so that means that we're going to have closed-in circles again. And now we've got to figure out where we're going to shape. Okay, so 0 happens to be way over here in this interval and to the far left. So you want to be careful that if you end up testing 0, you're testing a spot to the left of 1/2. And I'm going to let you know here that your solution area happens to lie in between 1/2 and 5. So had you tested 0, you should have gotten an answer of false, because there's no solutions over there. Okay, now, I want you to pause this. I want you to write your answer in interval notation. Okay, do you remember your brackets? I hope you did. Alright, let's take a look at number 5, get into some word problems. Just kidding. I know that you all just had an anxiety attack when you saw these word problems. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to go over in class together between your groups. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of guidance. I'm going to give you some things to look for when you're solving some word problems like this. So don't worry. No word problems in the video. I will see you guys in class.